What is it that can inspire you to close your heart? What is it in front of you, in the world around you, and in your memory that can inspire you to close your heart? To choose to cease being open to feel. It would be easy to tell you, and people may tell you sometimes, to open your heart. You have been told in your spiritual seeking that love is the answer. And this is true. So you should just open your heart, right? And then you seek to be compassionate, and you endeavor to stay open so that you may care and contribute something that is helpful to others who are in pain or are in need. But what is it, at some point, that inspires you to choose to stop being open to feel? What I would like to offer you in this message is that the answer in part is that if you are open-hearted, but you are not in charge of your energy field, which I'll explain more about, then you will be overwhelmed, or there is the potential for you to be overwhelmed. If you are not grounded and therefore discerning, if you are not grounded and learning how to care for yourself energetically and emotionally, then what is around you may overwhelm you. But the other thing to talk about is the content from memory, from experience, that you carry yourself, that you may not know how to effectively deal with. And I would like to offer you this image of a way to be open-hearted, so that you can intentionally, consciously, or more consciously over time, manage your energy and your emotions so that you may bring to your community or to the world around you the love that you have to give. So everybody who may hear this message, whether in this lifetime or in other lifetimes, has had the experience of being overwhelmed by emotion. While you are embodied as a human, you are a consciousness that inhabits a physical form, and energy waves come to you, and you are affected by them, and you may feel as though the strings of a guitar or harp strummed or plucked. Energy waves affect you, and then you may feel that you are emanating emotion, as if music from a musical instrument so stimulated. But also, the content of what you have, the emotional content related to what you have gone through or been through in this life and perhaps other lifetimes that you may have access to now through your heart, your feeling center. Now, as we proceed, I want you to pick something in the world around you that does sometimes seem to inspire you to close your heart. What in the world around you might overwhelm you? If you have a journal handy, make a note, or a piece of paper, make a note. Or just remember it in your mind. But I would also like for you to choose an example from your history as a human from this lifetime. Something that you're not sure how to effectively deal with. And so this memory brings emotional content that is too much, that seems too much for you to deal with. And if you have something to write with, note that also. I want to describe a process for you that will help you with both kinds of examples. And later I would like for you to use this process, engage with this activity or this exercise with each of those things, the personal thing and the thing in the world that you react to that is painful for you to be aware of. Now, everyone hearing this message also has the experience of having been conditioned to let the linear logical mind run his or her life. The mental part of you, the personality-based, the ego part of you. You think of the left brain part of you, and all of the teachings that I share through this channel have to do with helping you balance the two sides of your mind, or this part of you, right and left brain, but also connect your brain to a grounded, centered part of you so your brain or your linear logical mind serves you as a being. Now your mind will be in it for itself. This is part of its individuation function to protect itself, to protect you. But behind mind and personality, behind ego and the investment in individuality that you as a human naturally experience, behind this is something we might call your spirit. You might term it your higher self. Some people would say soul. Something about your essence that is in fact compassionate and loving. And so when we get behind the defenses of personality and ego and mind, we find an urge toward compassionate living, compassion, compassionate service, something like this, or all of it together. You cannot help it if you surrender your mind, surrender the control mandates of your mind. This is what will be behind it. And so while I seek to lead you through all kinds of exercises to ground and open your heart, and essentially grounding is a way of taking dictatorial power away from your linear logical mind, so you're centered in your body. You can therefore access your heart and your feelings. And your decisions will be more clear and conscious and intentional, because it's not only the defensive mechanism part of you that's making your decisions. So I ask you to open your heart. I ask you to get grounded quite frequently. But I want you to understand that behind the defenses of your ego and your mind is the compassionate nature of your, the fabric of your divine self, your soul, which is loving, which is aligned with love as power. So regarding the personal thing and the collective thing, or the thing in the world that might inspire you to close your heart, to choose to stop being open to feel, I want you to recognize that the influence of your linear logical mind, or your egoic self, is present. And I have no desire that any of you shame the existence or the need for you to have ego. But I also want you to mature spiritually as a human, to allow your ego to serve something bigger than itself. So I want you to have confidence. I want you to have a strong sense of who you are. And yet I also want you to ground your mind to the earth, to your body, to your heart, so it is not only seeking its own gratification. So do not shame ego, or mind, or personality structure. But please understand that it is not the entirety of your nature. It is an aspect of your human experience. So as I ask you again and again, throughout many messages and meditations and teachings, to open your heart, I also want to acknowledge that when you do that, you will find residues of what you have stored that your linear logical mind does not know what to do with. And it wants to have control. So I want you to understand. You can circle through or cycle through this exercise over and over, opening your heart. And I want you to practice it. But I want you to realize as you do that, you are essentially attempting to bring into balance different aspects of yourself. But always remember that your linear logical mind does not want to. Because if it cannot manage something, if it cannot control something, but let us understand it's attempting to manage, though it may look controlling as we look at it from the outside, attempting to manage reality or experience or processes, it cannot deal with certain emotions, so it wants to shut your heart down. But how are you going to grow closer to the wisdom of your soul if you keep closing your heart? So I want you to understand, behind all of this is the strength of soul, which is a level of your consciousness that is not hampered by the identities developed because of what has happened to you in the past, or what choices you have made. In other words, you are not what has happened to you. You are not what you have chosen. You are not the history of the events of your life. In order to try to manage reality and yourself, your mind will develop these identities and tell stories and create rationalizations about why you are the way you are. And you may also have the experience of having aligned with your spiritual center or your heart center, and those identities they start to fall away. Because the more you are aligned with your fourth chakra, the more you are in touch with the wisdom of your higher self and your soul. So the answer to all of the problems is love, but your linear logical mind cannot love. It can count and spell and plan. It can discern. It can organize. It can do many wonderful things, and it should be allowed to. But it will always perceive emotion as messy and pesky and perhaps even inappropriate. Now, because behind personality or true nature is loving, I want to spell some things out for you about this. You already have within you the seeds of strength to deal with whatever unhappiness or pain or sorrow or grief or any other negative feelings that your mind is concerned about being overwhelmed by or lost in. You already contain the seeds of strength to work through those things, if you can keep your heart open and witness what you are experiencing. So the exercise regarding the external situation that may inspire you to close your heart, the exercise for that part is to recognize that you need to unplug sometimes and to take care of yourself. But you also need to make sure you're not absorbing the energies of the suffering. And this is where the grounding practice comes in and is so important. Being your consciousness spread out throughout your whole body. Cords into the earth is the tool that I often teach. Breathing the energy of the earth into your body to shift the center of gravity of your consciousness. So the lower three chakras are being worked on and attended to intentionally. Attended to with intention. So the heart is not open willy-nilly, absorbing everything left and right, spilling, responding, flying out. And my heart went out to her pain. My heart went out to him. We want you to be grounded so you feel what's going on, but you're not absorbing everything. You're not leaping forward. So the exercise is, with this collective issue or thing outside you, challenge yourself to get grounded. Cords into the earth. Use the channel's meditations for this process. And challenge yourself to witness and clearly decide you are not absorbing the energy. Now, the exercise for the personal side of it, something that some experience from your own biography. It's a little different. Again, we start with grounding and being willing to feel. But this exercise is to stay open to and maintain focus on allowing yourself to feel that feeling that would normally cause you to close your heart or want to detach or shut down. Knowing that you have the seeds of strength to deal with it if you are willing to witness it. If you can remember that all things can be healed. If you can remember that you are not what has happened to you. If you can choose to remember that you are not the feeling that you are feeling. So I'm telling you that you can handle whatever that feeling is. And I'm telling you that your brain will say you can't, and it will fear the intensity or the duration of this feeling. So I invite you to do these exercises to learn more about your fourth chakra from a grounded place, cords into the earth. Clear you're not absorbing others' energies. Clear your heart is not going to go out to anyone. Because then you possess more of your own strength and power when it comes to this fourth chakra, love energy. So can you witness this feeling within you? Part of you might say, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Part of you might say, I don't think I can handle this. Whenever that comes up, if it does, reassert the cords into the earth and the grounding process. And get back at it. Listening to the inner part of you who's carrying this feeling and refusing to judge. Listening with compassion, but first without judgment. Witnessing this feeling that might have, over time, inspired you to close your heart. And while I have taught this next note a number of times in many places, I want to reiterate it for you here. Regarding this fourth chakra and your sensitivity to energy and emotion, and your vulnerability, and the soft part of you that feels what's going on in the world around you and in the hearts and energy fields of others, and then of course your own sensitivities about your own experiences, the emotional content you carry. You will likely have heard from many different sources that you need to protect yourself. Energetically, spiritually, emotionally. And I would like to impress upon you that when you do go through the grounding process, you become more clear that you don't need protection, but you need to be confident and trust yourself. So having an open heart to the world or to other people does not need to drain you, does not need to suck the life out of you, and you do not need protection against energies in the world around you. If you put up a barrier to your heart, you may feel protected, but it's a defensive posture that does not allow other things to come to you that might be quite supportive and nourishing. So I'd like for you to change your mind if you have been taught you need to protect yourself. You need to be grounded so you can be sane and clear, so you can know your limits and establish clear boundaries, and confidence that you have the right to say yes please and no thank you. These things, these benefits come from being grounded on a regular basis. So I invite you to be open, but to learn to responsibly manage your energy and your emotions. That is all I have to share with you at this time. Thank you.